you have nice fine cheese and fine wine, and then you're like, now I'm gonna go record. It's like, that might not be a good idea. Welcome to Behind the Slate, where I sit down with fellow voice actors and other industry artists to have a fireside chat. I'm your host, Christian O'Boyle. If you'd like to know more about me, please check out my website at christianoboyle.com. In this episode, I'll be talking with Ruka Samuels, a 21-year-old Texas-based voice actress, wife, and mother. When she isn't doing voice work, she enjoys participating in theater, performing in a princess troupe, and making cosplays. Ruka is mainly known for involvement in the webtoon series My Dear Cold-Blooded King, and her recent appearance in the fan-animated continuation of Bleach, where she had the privilege of voicing Rukia alongside with Johnny Young Bosch's Ichigo. She hopes to continue her voice work while keeping her family first. Look at that Neumann. Look how beautiful it is.
I went from a Yeti to this.
That's like a huge.
Yeah.
You went from a USB to an XLR. How do you feel that the quality difference? Was there a huge leap, or do you feel that it wasn't that much?
Yeah, it's like you have to be attuned to it in a sense, because like when I first switched, I was like, this is exactly the same. And then I went back to the Blue Yeti to like record podcasts and stuff. And it was such a big difference just with like the noise floor and stuff. So I was like, well, okay, I get it. And then once you keep working with it, you realize the difference.
And how much potential it has.
Still, it's still like, it's a great mic, but you still have like, the soundproofing and all that makes it really work.
Yeah, like Joe and I were talking is like treatment first before you get a nice mic. You need to treat your space, because that Neumann would probably sound like not that great if it were out in your living room.
No, I built this little studio in the back of like my living room space and have like heavy curtains to separate it and to make it look pretty, and the soundproofing and stuff. But when I didn't have that, because I was waiting for the panels to come in, it was so bad. I couldn't record anything. The echo and it was bad.
Well, I mean, you could have probably take like a comforter and like thrown over your head if you're really.
I tried.
Oh, it didn't work?
The blanket method I'm all for, and I guess I just didn't have a thick enough one. I was like dying under there. But it didn't do much, and I was like, shoot, I need soundproofing.
Well, I mean, again, it's one of the things that as I talk to guests in the show, it's trying to help talk about other industry things, hopefully for people to learn. So it is very important to also know that a nice microphone does not get you good audio. It's a good space gets you better audio. You can make a Yeti sound pretty decent with a good space. You can't make a Neumann sound good if it's not in a treated space.
That is
actually
very, very true.
A Neumann sounds worse in an untreated space than a Yeti probably sounds.
It's very true.
Yeah.
The Yeti's pretty good with like open spaces, and the blankets method and all that. But this, no, if it's not treated properly, it's not going to do its job.
Yeah. Well, it's so sensitive, so it really picks up all those reflections and stuff. So,
and the breathing especially. That's the one thing that I had to like learn, and I'm still learning, because I'll do my recording normally, and then I'll listen back to it, and usually if it were the USB, it would be fine. It would sound great. But with this one, you can hear like every single time I breathe or like blink. Like I'm like, I'm still getting used to it, to be honest.
I have on my interface, or in my DAW, I have it preset up with presets. And so I already have a noise reducer, a noise suppressor already applied to all my audio. So that's I don't have to do it while I edit. I just have to cut and send. But every once in a while I'll turn it off. I'm like, oh, what is that?
Oh,
it's like constantly at it, like it takes out like the bottom 15 decibels. It's like -15, so remove anything from there. So it's very like you move your clothing and stuff like that. But as soon as you turn it off, you're like, oh my gosh, what is that?
Oh,
it's so it hears everything.
oh my gosh, he hears everything. It's a good practice for like not breathing through a take if it's like a shorter take, which you don't generally do anyway. But like if you're not used to it, you're just like, and so.
And then you have to you learn a new way of breathing. You learn a new way of speaking because now your tongue is clicking against the bottom and the top of your mouth. You hear everything. You're constantly drinking. I swear I drink about at minimum 100 ounces of water every day.
That's awesome.
To stay high. I have a nice big 40-ounce water bottle that I fill up about 2.5 to 3 times a day. So
okay.
I mean, I'm hydrated, and I definitely can hear. I don't have as much clicks and stuff like that. When I was starting, it was just all the time I couldn't record, and so I was like, you know what, big water bottle, fine.
That works. I definitely try not to like eat a whole lot or drink a whole bunch before, like if I know it's something serious I need to record for.
Right.
But I feel like once you like solve a problem, another one
comes
up, and it's like it's never ending. Like you're constantly fixing something.
You're cutting out foods, you're adding foods because they help. You're brushing your teeth before you record and stuff like that. Is there a specific food that you like to eat to reduce mouth noise?
Green apple is what I was taught to eat.
Doesn't work for me.
Really?
I get more mouth noise.
Wow.
Yeah, it drives me out.
That's interesting.
Actually, I can eat sour candies. That'll make me salivate a lot and therefore less mouth noise, but then I get the salvation click and it's like, there's no winning.
That's so true. I just don't really eat much. Like I can't even think of I'm like, foods do I eat before recording? I just don't in general. So I'm like, it's just easier that way.
Yeah. And then a lot of people are like, avoid dairy, avoid milk, cheese, creamers. And it's like, I have almond creamer, which is not dairy, so therefore it doesn't congest you. So I can still drink coffee, even though coffee dehydrates you. But if I'm drinking 100 ounces of water, I kind of combat. And I only drink like maybe 1 or 2 cups of coffee. So it's not like I'm pounding down the coffee or anything like that.
I'm terrible with dairy. Like if I do eat, before a recording, which will just be one of those days where I'm like, you know what? I'm not recording anything too serious. I'm just kind of doing casual fun work. I was like, I'm going to have some chocolate and I'm going to make this work. And
now I regret it.
Actually, it's not that bad. Like I've not, because I do a lot of deeper voice characters. I don't do a lot of high-pitched girls. I do a lot of deeper voices. And so when my throat's like coated with the dairy and other, like usually I use throat coat, but in the off chance it's actual dairy, it doesn't really affect me that badly. Maybe I just haven't noticed it yet.
Right.
But it's not terrible. And it's not like a lot of dairy. It's just a little bit, but still.
Yeah.
Like
in proportion.
Unless it was like a lot, then I will notice it.
You have nice fine cheese and fine wine, and then you're like, now I'm gonna go record. It's like, that might not be a good idea.
Yeah, probably not. It's not advised.
Not advised at all. Some people do say chew gum because it can clean your mouth, but I can't chew gum for the rest of my life.
What?
I had double jaw surgery about 4.5 years ago. So it kind of, when I open up my mouth a good amount, my jaw pops. I don't know if it's because of the surgery or something else. I called the surgeon. They're like, that's probably not because of the surgery. You need to talk to your dentist. And I was like, okay. So I have no idea why my jaw pops. But my orthodontist is like, yeah, just don't chew gum. You're good. Just don't overwork your jaw. It's like, what? Okay.
Gum is the reason for everything.
I didn't eat gum or chew gum that often anyway. So it wasn't like I was, and I had to have braces for about 2 years before, or like during the process of the surgery, like 1.5 years before, and then surgery, and then had to have them to keep everything wired, banded shut.
Man, that's a lot.
I mean, it was a process. Lily was 1 month at that time.
Oh my gosh. Gee. And how many kids do you have?
Just one.
Just
She's
the one?
4, just a little over 4.
Gotcha.
4.5 in May.
Gotcha.
So yeah.
Gotcha. Mine will be 2 in July.
Exciting. That's so cool. How do you like this age? He's almost the 2 age.
He acts a lot older than he is. So like I forget he's the age that he is. He acts like he's 3, but he's not even 2. And so he's a handful. I enjoy the age, but it's definitely that age where they get into everything. They start to know words and start to know what pushes your buttons and what doesn't.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, everyone calls it the terrible 2, since like it's them learning boundaries and learning things. And the thing is, when they push something off a table, they realize it's a reaction. They realize, oh, if I push this off a table, it's going to fall. So then they do it again because they realize, oh, that they're discovering gravity. You're going, stop pushing things off the table. Like, wow, did you see that? So that, I think a lot of people misunderstand and misuse the terms terrible 2s. But Lily went through terrible 3s, and someone's like, yeah, girls have a 3-nager stage. And I was like, so true. It's so true.
Gosh. Yeah, my son is very smart in the sense where I feel like it's my fault because I'm like, I prayed for a personality that would be like mine, but have my husband's intelligence. And I realized that the reason I didn't have a high intelligence as a kid was for my own good. I probably would have killed myself if I had the means to do what my crazy eccentric personality wants to do.
Right.
So now I'm stuck with that, and it's great. It's a lot of fun, but you can't look away for 1 second. Not a single second.
Yeah. So Jesse and I both do theater, and we'll sing on stage and all that stuff. Lily already since she was 2 or 1, has been interested and fascinated with theater. She'll watch Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, Guys and Dolls, Hello Dolly, like the oldies, and she loves them, Mary Poppins. And so she sings, like she can listen to a song and have the melody down and like hum to it, and then she can figure out the lyrics within like 1 or 2 courses, and she'll be singing along with it. And then she dances all around the house and stuff, and she's doing ballet and gymnastics. It's like, all right, let's get you into theater. That's awesome. Yeah, so we're gonna enroll her into a preschool that's in our area that is it's a children's theater, and they have a preschool and the kindergarten. So
that's awesome. I do theater. My husband does not do theater, but I do theater. And Arlen very quickly has learned to like recognize me in and out of costume.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really funny because they're like, you're gonna freak your child out. You're wearing long blue hair. And I'm like, psh. And he just runs up, mama. And I'm like, yeah, no, he knows.
Yeah.
Because I've been doing theater and princess work since he was born. So
yeah.
It's a lot of fun. That's really cool.
So what got you into acting?
I've always done it as much as as far back as I can remember. I'm the oldest of 8 family members. So it's like I lived next door to my cousins for a long time. Both of them. So like my mother's side, both of her siblings lived beside us, and out of all of us, there's 8 of us kids. Mm-hmm. And they're my cousins, but we were raised as siblings.
Right.
And so and I'm the oldest. And they were all boys. Almost all. There's 2 girls. The rest were boys. And the girls hid. So we would do like, play with the swords and reenact stuff and film stuff with like our little tiny cameras. And so we always just did a lot of acting, and then went into theater in high school. Okay. And then when I moved to Texas, I joined a little community theater here. So
where are you originally from?
I'm originally from Delaware.
Okay. How was that move from Delaware to Texas?
It was a huge deal. It was a big move because I was 18 at the time.
Mm-hmm.
I had been 18 for 3 months, and I got married to my husband and moved away from all my family, everyone I knew, and went to Texas to start as his wife and start this new life and stuff. And it was a huge difference, not only just because it was Texas, and I went from like the second smallest state to the big state.
One of the biggest.
I know. Everyone was so much nicer in the South,
Yeah.
which was an interesting comparison. Like, I remember going to a gas station and a lady was like, "Can I help you with something?" And I was like literally freaked out. I was like,
"What do you want? You have a ulterior motive."
Seriously, because I mean, you tell someone to have a good day in the Delaware, New York, New Jersey area, and they're like,
Right.
"Don't tell me what to do." They hate niceness. And so coming to Texas was a huge breath of fresh air. Everyone was so nice.
So what brought you into Texas? Was it for like a job position, or you just felt like moving, or was it for a specific reason?
My husband lives here.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he's from Texas.
Yeah. We're near the Austin area. So when I got married, I just moved down here, and we have like a little house on his family owns a ranch, and with a bunch of different family members down the ranch. And so we have like this little house on the property, and that's where we've been for 3 years.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So how did you fall into acting or voice acting? How did you fall into voice acting after you had been acting for a while?
Well, acting, I was kind of turned off to acting for a period of time, just because of the people that I was interacting with were not the best to the name. Kind of made me uncomfortable as a woman, but so I was kind of like turned off. And then when I moved to Texas, the change was so drastic, and I guess my body didn't quite know how to deal with it, and so I was diagnosed with an autoimmune disease that basically it ran up to here at one point, but from here all the way down to my ankles was just bloody scabs. I couldn't wear short sleeves, I couldn't wear white. I had to constantly be covered. People would give me such horrified looks when I went into public, and I was really just depressed and hurting because no one knew how to cure me at the time. And so with no family aside of my in-laws, and no really way I couldn't go out anywhere because I was in so much pain. So I was like, you know what, I should try voice acting. My father-in-law had like this little radio studio. He did like podcasts and stuff, and so he let me have access to that. And I'd been dabbling in it before, like voice acting, kind of on and off. I didn't really go anywhere. I was like, I didn't do anything with it. So this is when I just was like, all right, I'm going to do it, because it doesn't matter if I'm looking hideous on the outside. No one can know, and I can make people laugh and smile and feel not myself for a bit, which is so I used it as an escape at first. And that's when I started, and I believe that was 2015.
Okay. Wow. So did the autoimmune disease cure itself, or did you find a cure, or is it still kind of there?
It's still kind of there. When you have an autoimmune disease, it never quite goes away.
Right.
Like you can pacify it, but you can't get rid of it.
Right.
But thankfully we found a doctor about a year in of me having this and being in constant pain. A doctor who was a family doctor in the area, and they gave me some medicine and told me what foods to avoid and what to eat, and I healed right up. And showed I have scars, but I can wear short sleeves. No one would ever know that it was ever there. Obviously, you could never tell. And so that's why I love I got back into theater, and I got back into cosplay, because it was a privilege for me doing cosplay to be able to show off me as a character when before I couldn't. So
right, exactly.
Yeah.
So what are some of your most favorite cosplays you have done?
I've done obviously I love doing like the Disney princesses because that's what I do as like a little side job. I'm part of a princess troupe from the theater, and we get to dress up and do events for kids, and that's a lot of fun. But my personal cosplays, I usually stick to like webtoons, which has been a lot of fun. I definitely, Kiara May from My Dear Cold-Blooded King is definitely my favorite because I've been the most involved. I got to provide her voice and like the off dubs, and it's been a lot of fun just to do casual webtoon characters for creators who may not get cosplays all the time.
Right.
So it's fun to kind of bring that to life.
That's awesome. So you're bringing their characters to life. Now, how did you start dubbing My Dear Blooded King?
I started dubbing My Dear Cold-Blooded King when I had my son. He was a couple weeks old, and when you're, feeding and providing for a baby, you don't get much sleep. I mean, I was getting like an hour of sleep between having to wake up. And so I was like, I'm just going to stay up because I hated feeling that like angry grumpiness when you wake up.
Right.
And so I was like, I'm just going to stay up and then sleep later, like in the day when my in-laws and husband can help me kind of juggle the baby. So I stood up, and I didn't quite know what content to do for my channel. I was like, well, we'll figure something out. And I knew some friends had done webtoons, and so I asked a friend for recommendations. She sent me My Dear Cold-Blooded King, and I love different cultures and all that. And so I was like, awesome. I asked the author for permission. She gave it to me. And so I would just stay up learning how to edit from like square 0 and up. I never done Premiere before, but I got my hands on that. And so I just kept editing it, and it kept my mind up when I needed to stay up, and gave me motivation to not be as grumpy while I'm waiting for feedings and stuff.
Right.
And it's been, almost 2 years, I guess, because we're on episode 70. Wow. We never stopped. The crew stuck on board, and it's been really cool. I've got to develop a relationship with the author and with my crew, and it's been a lot of fun.
So what is the process of working with other actors? How's that? And are you the one directing the actors?
So with this particular project, I organize everything, so the scripts and who does who, etc. But I don't direct. Not really. Because it's art that you're following. Most of the time, it's pretty self-explanatory with like expressions when they're reading it. That's my requirement, is that they read it along with the script, so they can see the expressions with the line. And so far, they've been really spot on with it. There might be a few times where I'm like, hey, can you maybe give me another take of this or another take of that? But it's very rare. So it's just been awesome to have a cast that just melds with their characters and does their best to bring those expressions to life.
That's awesome. So a couple months ago, your channel got striked. How was that process, and what was that like?
Oh gosh, it was so weird, and I don't think we still really know what went on. I woke up and I had like 30 something strikes. Everything was gone and disabled. Like I was already shut out of everything. And it said it was from Naver, which is Webtoon's core company in Korea. And I was like, well, shoot. I was like, what? I've been working with the author. I had her written permission, so I was like, I mean, I know Naver can, technically they have, the main rights, but, the US version of Naver, Line Webtoon isn't as picky about that, They know about me. Line Webtoon knows I exist. The staff members and such. So I was like, I kind of felt a tad bit betrayed. I was like, you should have told me, like, before this, and I would have, like, removed things or done things right, because I always try to do things right. So I got in touch with a fellow YouTuber, tried to file complaints. I never filed a dispute, but like I sent retraction emails and stuff. And I sent evidence I worked with someone at Webtoons, and sent evidence to them that I wasn't monetizing. I wasn't doing any of that. It was solely because I just loved the story, and everyone else did too. And so after, obviously the days were counting down till total shutdown.
Right.
And it was like 2 or 3 days before that, all of a sudden, everything was back. Like it never happened. All the claims were gone. All the videos were back up. And I didn't get any notifications from YouTube. I didn't get any emails from Webtoons. Nothing. Wow. It just was there again. So I know, like, we found out that the person doing the claims wasn't actually Naver. It was an impersonator account or something, because they went after other Webtoon dubbers.
Right.
And I think what got them was there is a dubber for this Webtoon called Let's Play. And Let's Play is one of, like, the biggest titles currently on online Webtoon. And her dubber, Mongi, is the artist. Her dubber happens to also be her artist, like her shader and flat, and it's like all that.
Right.
And so she was like, I will come at you with the full extent of the law. She protected her dubber, and then that's when things really started getting done. It was very interesting. And I believe all the claims were eventually dropped. I know Joe got struck, Dr. Bonehead.
Yeah.
He got struck. But only twice. Right. And so his faded, and I think the other one's faded as well. And Filsterman was the one who got struck most recently, and all of his was returned as well. So I don't know what quite happened, but it's solved now, and they don't seem very eager to keep going. So
right. Now, do you hope that because of that YouTube will kind of maybe fix their copyright or fix their kind of database, or do you think they're just gonna, it is what it is?
It is what it is.
Right.
I don't think YouTube really cares about smaller content creators. It's just, it's sad, but they don't care at all. It doesn't matter how many times I don't want to see Shane Dawson on my on my feed. He gets the money, and he'll push it. Literally, I'll be like, I don't want to see this content anymore. I don't want to see it. It doesn't matter how many times I try to get him off my feed. Right. He will be there, and that's because that's what YouTube pushes, and that's how YouTube works.
Yeah.
And so I'm like,
they're there for the money. They're a business. Makes sense.
They don't really care, and so that's what's hard. Is that it's not a stable platform, and so I'm glad I'm just doing. I have a loose grip on it, basically.
Right.
The best way to do it.
Are you thinking about possibly transferring to a different platform just in case it happens again? Have you thought about as a backup plan?
I have all the videos on backup and stuff, most of them anyway. And I don't really see another platform. There's not really one available.
Right.
Like there's Twitch, but that's not for videos. It's, for gaming. You can technically, move it over, but
well, there's Vimeo.
Yeah, but I don't see it being. I would see it just being dead.
Right.
Basically.
Right.
Because it just takes too much to get your audience to the site. Yeah. So I don't know. I hope that doesn't happen. But if it does, I'm sure I'll come up with something. I don't think the artist wants to see it go either, so we'll probably figure something out together.
Yeah. Well, hopefully it doesn't happen again, so you don't have to worry about that.
Please, YouTube, for once.
I mean, I guess you could always host it on your, if you have a website, you could probably always host it on that.
That is true.
So that is an optional way, but then again, websites have a data limit, so you'd have to get like the biggest one where you have unlimited bandwidth and stuff like that. So
that is true. It would be. Just hoping it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
I would not quite know what to do.
For sure. So now you have a 2-year-old. How do you balance, or almost 2-year-old, how do you balance being a mom, a wife, and a voice actor?
It wasn't always balanced. I will fully admit that there were periods of time where I was mainly before he was born. I was very just, because my husband is working on his master's degree. He was always working. And so I was usually alone anyway. But now I normally do voice acting at night, like where we are now. I will wait. My son goes to bed at 7, and so I will do all my work from like 7 to 10 or something, or however long I need to. Really, I'll get all my recordings done, editing, anything I need to do, and then I'll clean up the living room or whatever, and my wifely duties. I'll do all that before I go to bed, and just kind of get it all out. So that's basically how I balance it. I don't do it during the day when he's awake or I'm needed.
So that's you're full-time mom with a part-time voice actor.
Yeah. I never intended to be a professional voice actor.
Right.
I was always kind of sticking to the hobbyist end of things. But then obviously I got serious to some degree, at least.
Yeah.
Enough to where it's earning a little bit of income, which is nice. Just a little enough to be like, hey, I can save a grocery trip or two. Everything matters and counts.
Date night.
Yeah, exactly. It's just good stuff.
That's nice. Now, do you feel that you have found a good balance with the way you have kind of balanced everything? Do you feel that you have a good time management with all your balance and stuff like that?
I think so. I think this is the most balanced it's ever been.
Right.
At least for me personally. And I'm not taking on too many projects, just kind of sticking to what I enjoy and then what pays. I'm not like doing every single casting call I see just for the sake of it. I'm very selective in what I do. And so that definitely helps.
So how does one balance their time? Because I know a lot of people struggle with finding, they're like, I work a 9 to 5 and then I get home and then I do this and I have this, and they're like, I don't have time. It's like, well, have you considered like maybe taking a day or two off and then doing everything you need? And they're like, oh, I never thought about that. So what is maybe a process that you think someone could probably find a good way to time manage, and why is it important for time management with family and everything else?
I can only speak like personally, like what I've done, and my process is always put family and what you need to do for yourself first, and which it depends, but if you're efficient about it, if you're doing things like, if I let the dishes pile up, then it'll take me longer, but if I just do a dish or two a day, then it's like that and I have more time. Simple stuff like that where you just are intentional with how you spend your time. And if you're working a job, and you come home, doing what you need to do, and then maybe setting aside a little bit of time before you go to bed or in the morning before, if you get up early, or like you said, take a day off, get everything done in that one period of time, and organizing your voice work to where it's easy. Making a list of your clients and a list of your casting calls and the dates of those casting calls so that you don't miss anything, and the dates of your clients. And I think that's what's been most useful for me as a mom or someone who's just really busy, is marking my jobs, and what was like the most efficient way to get them all done, shorter scripts first, or just organizing it to where I could sit down and bam, 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 get it all done. Because if I don't, then I just find myself aimless, like wondering what to do first. Should I audition? Should I not? And then I realize that I'm not spending as much time on voice acting that I think I am.
Right.
Because either I completed all my jobs and I'm like, oh, I don't have to worry about it, because I've efficiently cleared my jobs, or I don't have to do many auditions, which auditions are optional, you don't have to audition for everything, which I think is what newer voice actors struggle with, because there are dry seasons, and you want continuous work and stuff, but you don't have to audition for everything.
For sure.
It's definitely don't let that stress you out, basically.
Right. Now, where would you like to see yourself in maybe 5 to 10 years?
I don't think I'll be voice acting in 10 years. to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I can see me doing voice acting for maybe 5 years, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy it a lot, but I don't think it's my permanent job. I think it's a nice season in my life right now where I'm able to do it and enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
And if I get, to be successful from that, I think that's an awesome bonus.
Right.
But it's not my life's goal to be a top tier voice actor. I more or less just enjoy it for what it is.
Right.
But I definitely see myself more of a family person down the road with additional children, or
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
hopefully I'll be able to do a little more theater
Mm-hmm.
10 years down the road, but who knows? I could be editing for a different company at this time, and
Mm-hmm.
I take it day by day or week by week. So I have a general idea of what I want my 5-10 year plan to be, but
Right.
I hold everything very loosely because everything changes from month to month. So
Right. And
I just know that I'm probably
you're
not
still
gonna do it.
young. You're still
Yeah,
young. So
yeah.
I mean, 10 years
I'm
is a
young.
lot to. It's 10 years is a
I'll
lot to look at.
be just 30 maybe.
Yeah,
So
just past 30.
just past 30.
I'm 28 in a month.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm 21 and I'll be 22 in August.
So, I mean, 10 years is a lot of time, and especially like I found even from 21 to now, that's 6.5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Huge difference in terms of where I was and where I am and what I found that I have a very entrepreneurial mind in the creative field. So I'm always designing, always creating things, voice acting, photography, acting, theater wise, just everything like, oh, what can I do? And just building things. And it just happens that it also brings me extra side revenue, but it wasn't intentional. It just kind of
Exactly.
built that way. So again, yeah, 5 years is even like, I don't know what I'm going to be doing in 5 years, because you might get a huge kick for something and maybe your path goes somewhere else, and you never know. And plus you're in Texas, so if you're like, I don't know if I'm going to be a voice actor by then, but maybe you hit a stride and you get lucky to maybe not do it full time, but still do stuff, and maybe you're doing stuff for Funimation every once in a while or something.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see like where it takes me.
Mm-hmm.
I guess because, like you said, it wasn't intentional.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a really rough start with the voice acting, obviously with my health, and the
Mm-hmm.
people I surrounded myself with at the time were not pleasant and not
Right.
what it should have been.
Right.
So I had a really rough start, but even who I was from 2015 to now is so different.
Mm-hmm.
So different. Much healthier now. Much more into myself.
Mm-hmm.
Not as much of that little younger girl who
Right.
just got married, who moved off, who's sick. Like, it was
Right.
just a rough time, but I'm much better now and in a better place. And doing stuff like this, it's a lot of fun.
It is.
So, yeah.
And I enjoy the creative outlet that it provides, and
Oh, definitely.
specifically the community, just of how supportive everyone is and how caring that they are, in terms of if you're not feeling well, you're feeling sick. I mean, Lo-Fi, when he got sick, he lost his voice. Everyone was surrounding him in regards to that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a nice community of being around. And again, who knows where I'm going to be in 5 years.
Yeah.
But I mean, I just like to pursue things, and I happen to turn things into businesses accidentally.
I know the type.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This was supposed to be a hobby, and now
Right?
I'm pursuing like making it a business. Maybe not full time, but I'm trying to. I have no idea.
But that's the fun thing about it. When you're a creative person, you may not have an end destination, but you're just doing things along the way that you enjoy, and that's fun. And that's what I love about this, is that it's just creative and it provides the outlet. And then, cosplay and theater and all the other stuff that we get into, it just feels right in a sense. Like, it's just a lot of fun to be able to do different things and then do it for other people as well that enjoy it. it's a really cool experience. I'm very grateful to be creative, I guess.
Right. So what is, or is there a project that you're excited about?
Not really one in particular. There's some projects that I'm excited about for the future that I can't like disclose, but like at the same time, yeah, the common NDA, whatnot.
Hey, you know what? That I applaud people who have an NDA.
Yeah, they're not as fun.
No, they're not.
But there are future projects that I hope to be a part of or that I'm excited for, but really there's nothing specific. I enjoy the little things as they come, you know? I enjoy when I like suddenly get an idea for a cosplay or I see a character and I just throw together a test real quick.
Right.
Or there's jobs for friends. I know like there's a tear between, or people are torn with, you know, should I do paid work only and that's the sign of a professional, or to do, you know, fan work with your friends. And I'm in between.
Right.
You know, it's so much fun and it's such good practice. And for me, that's like my favorite part is clients are amazing and they're essential for being successful, but doing things for your friends that you know they enjoy and you enjoy, it's just so much fun. It's like you're doing what you're meant to be doing together and you're helping each other get to that point, and practicing and all that. And so I'm a big person for fan projects,
right,
obviously. So
well, I definitely agree that there is no, I think even some professionals do smaller gigs, whether it's paid or just indie, low paying, because I feel that there's quality that can be done with indie projects. I've seen a lot of indie projects that come across, maybe they pay very little, but the quality of production it provides is satisfying to see the end result, and it's invigorating. You're like, ooh, look at this. And again, maybe it didn't pay, or maybe it paid a little, but then you have some of the projects, and I've done a couple projects where it paid and it comes out and I'm like, I can't put that on my resume because I don't I'm not a fan of the results. And so again, it's all based on what you come across and what you enjoy doing.
Yeah, I guess this is up to your discretion, you know.
It is. It definitely is.
Yeah, but I'm with you. I've done some paid projects where I'm like, I can't stand this ending. And then I've done some fan projects, and I don't mean like anime dubs,
right.
Because I do think there's a line between taking content and doing things like webtoons where it's consent between the author and the artist, etc. There is a fine line there, but I've done some of those projects, or like original animations from artist friends and etc. that have turned out so well. Like everyone's gave their best, and you're like, oh my gosh, can I just show this to everyone? Even though it's not.
Yes, please do.
Yeah, even though it's not like official. And I guess it's just like you said, what you kind of get joy from doing. So
that's awesome. So where can people go to find more about you and more about your work?
I'm working on a website currently. It's not up yet, so the best way to see me and my life would be Twitter. But if you want to see my work, my YouTube channel, Ruka Samuels, that just has, like I said, from podcasts to vlogs to cosplay videos to the webtoon that we're working on. That's where you'll find it. So awesome. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being on the podcast, the episode, the whatever we call it. I don't even have a name for it.
Of course. Thank you so much for asking me.
Thanks for listening to Behind the Slate with guest Ruka Samuels. If you liked the episode, please subscribe to the channel and click the bell button to stay notified. I look forward to seeing you again. Yay! I despise technology.
Me too.
Patient. I think now I can send them. I'm gonna go, hey, let's talk, and then they're gonna be like, no, and I'll be like, okay.